in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Hey, make yourselves
sit.
comfortable, guys. Goes without saying. You did the thing. I sat, you sit.
So as we're getting settled in, just turn that up a bit. I just want to thank everybody who's here today. It's so wonderful to see you all here for our second day. I hope your practice session went well. I did want to also just thank all of our wonderful volunteers who helped set up the room, get everything working. Really appreciate you all. Something like this can't be done by just one person, so it does take our Sangha volunteers to make it happen. So I appreciate you so much. Also, if you'll notice on the back of your prayers, we have some sponsors listed. So bringing teachers like Lama and Lena out takes money. So we always try to raise money to bring her out for a stipend. That way it also opens the teachings to everyone. There's no cost for people to come to this. It's open to the public with our benefactor model. So I just want to say thank you all who helped donate. I do apologize to a few of you who I printed these out, and then we had some sponsor donations come in. So if you're not on here, I do apologize. But again, thank you all. It's due to your financial support that we're able to bring wonderful teachers like Lama and Lena here as well. So let me get seated and we'll do our opening prayers and we'll get started.
Who's doing coffee? Could I get some cream in it? You want to do your prayers first? Yes.
All right, let me hang on one second. We're trying to switch. Well, I needed to read the prayers. No. One second. Is connected, so we're all set.
Okay, I'm just going to put a secondary one. Okay. 5G 2 bars. Password to it is Lena, all lowercase.
Okay.
In case something goes astray.
Okay. I think we're set. And just feel free to put in chat if it's not coming through. So we'll do our opening prayers, refuge vows. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefits to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefits to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until enlightenment is reached. May my generosity and accumulations of merit bring benefits to all beings, and may all beings actualize perfect Buddhahood. 4 immeasurables. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness. And may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by the 8 worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by the 8 worldly concerns. May all beings be endowed with happiness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness, and may all beings abide in equanimity, undisturbed by 8 worldly concerns. For as long as space endures, and for as long as living beings remain, until then may we too abide to dispel the misery of the world. Seven-limb prayer. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. I declare all my negative actions since beginless time, and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate the merit created by myself and others to the great enlightenment. And then mandal offering. This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of my attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments. Without any sense of loss, I offer this collection. Please accept it with pleasure and bless me with the freedom from the three poisons. Idam Guru Ratna Mendalakam Niyatayami. And prayer to turn the wheel of Dharma. In harmony with the different wishes and mindsets of sentient beings, please turn the wheel of Dharma of the common, greater, and lesser vehicles. And with that, let me start the recording.
First of all, is this working? I do not hear the funny sound when it
I got to
works.
dial you in. Try it one more time.
Is it working? Yes, it's working now. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take a photo of you with my yogis up on the mountain? If you don't want them to see your face, look down or something, because they really would enjoy just seeing y'all. And as I travel, let's see, video, portrait, cinematic. Okay, thank you. It's not going on Facebook or anything. I'm just sharing it with the gang up in the caves, because when I travel, they like to see where I go. Thank you. This prayer I do to start, the lineage prayer, is the essence of both Bodhisattva and refuge combined in Guru Yoga. Do you see how that works? Imagine the fourth time outside of the time-space continuum. There's the usual three times: the past, the present, the future. And then there's the fourth time, which is all times and no times. At some point in the three times, all sentient beings will recognize their innate Buddhahood. Your lineage is an emanation of all Buddhas that ever were or will be, which is in fact all sentient beings that are, were, and will be. Outside of time, in the fourth time, beyond time and space, all life arises as all Buddhas. Your refuge is all Buddhas of the fourth time, of the three times. Your Guru Yoga is the lineage, which is a manifestation of all Buddhas of the three times, which is itself exactly within the fourth time, all sentient beings of the three realms. For where else would Buddhas come from if they did not arise out of sentient beings? It's the same innate life vitality that permeates the emptiness of Dharmakaya as the vitality of Sambhogakaya, manifesting both as Kuntu Zangpo, Kuntu Zangmo, primordial Buddhahood, all Buddhas of the fourth time, and all sentient beings of the three realms simultaneously. For the fourth time is not some future far, far away. It's in between each moment. Chuku kunda zongbo gombo he dorji sempa garab dorji dang shere singe bardu shin labdi dedam mabzan tata tusum chi Dzogchen jupe lama la solo deb Ergen pema junila solo deb Dorji chang chitilo naro dang marpa mila gompo tatapa na pupadang palden drupa sog kargilama namla solo deb Ochen lama namla solo deb Dzogchen lama namla solo deb Kaginuari lama namla solo deb Shakya lama namla solo deb Nyendu dang yundran lama namla solo deb Falcon du jong dang yerme pa gon garab dorji shindrag pa jeti dang ni sume pai Palamanam chetente chong. So Matt, how was the morning session? Did you guys get to go for a walk or had it gotten too hot? Yeah, it was always voluntary. Your practice has to be voluntary. If somebody tries to make you, what you gonna do? Rawr. You can't make me. Whereas if it's fun, you're gonna do it anyway. So you did some practice. How did that go? What'd you find? What'd you not find? Talk to me. You are the least verbal group I've got. Come on.
And we have a new microphone and cable, so you don't have to worry about it shorting out.
Hi.
Hi.
What I remember and is the truth that every single moment is something new.
It is.
You know, like intellectually, I understand that, but this time my heart felt it.
Excellent.
And my breath felt it. And
did you notice that you are something new too?
Yes. Yes. And that, you know, it's just, to me, that's a miracle. You know, it's just an amazing truth. And it is a truth, you know, that every moment is something new. That's just amazing to me. So I appreciate your teaching.
Excellent. Keep practicing. There are more truths for you to find hidden in there. Got a guy coming from your other side, Matt.
Yeah, I found it a lot harder to focus with my eyes open meditating than I do with my eyes closed.
This is true. And if you are only going to practice Tantra, it really doesn't matter that much because you practice Tantra on a cushion in a gum tree. However, if you will practice Dzogchen, you have to take it off the cushion. You have to take it out into life. And if at that point, which is often after some years of having it on the cushion, it is much harder to change your pattern, to open your eyes. So you now can't see what we call Tawa, that open awareness, that vastness. With your eyes open, you have to close your eyes so you keep going like this as you're walking around. At some point, you're going to walk into a post. So it's going to take some practice, and don't hold them bug-eyed open, relaxed open. You ever go sit by the river and just watch the river? You know how your eyes kind of relax after a while and they're not looking at anything in particular? That kind of open. Not like you're trying to see if a fish will jump. Not like you're carefully examining the shape of the river, but just looking without an agenda. That kind of open. And yes, you blink. Not wildly often, but as needed. Your body will do that for you automatically. I've seen a lot of yogis get dehydrated. Drink water. Some of them, they just don't want to go get up and pee, so they stop drinking water, and then they get weird side effects. Don't do that. I was the medical practitioner, the doctor to the yogis up there for many years. So yes, I got to see all the meditative accidents, not only my own, which were vast and frequent, but everybody else's too, because they'd be coming to me, oh, I burned my eyeballs, eye drops. Who else? Did any kind of question come up? You're there. Good. Excellent. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lena. Is
Hi.
that on? Okay. You didn't mention like ending it. So when I left this morning and was driving, I thought I was done, and I didn't have any problem stopping at the red stoplights. But when it turned green, I kind of just sat there and realized I was kind of in a daze still.
So what you want to do at the end, when you decide you need to end and go operate heavy machinery, don't bother ending if you're just going to walk. But cars and chainsaws, it is better if you actually create a formal end. Or however you prefer to do it by habit. That's just the one that's in my habit. But feel it. Feel the gewa, the relaxation, the openness, the good mood, the happiness created by your having sat there in you, in your biome, in the surroundings, and choose to share all of that with all life and feel it. You don't have to shove it forwards like beaming it out there. Just open it out and don't try to hoard the stuff. You know, we always talk about accumulations of merit. Where do you keep yours? Yeah, I know the Sanskrit answer in your Alaya Vanena. Where that? You create merit, but you don't keep them. For they're made out of the time-space continuum. They create the time-space continuum. Both Gewa and Digpa create the patterns of the flow of time and space that you experience as a reality. Create your reality and the reality of those interacting with you who are in your mandala. And your mandala can be pretty big. You can interact with a great many things and places and beings and their biomes. All of that. I have not found any place to actually store a merit, to accumulate them and pack them in. So don't try doing that. Give them away. Works better. I've always preferred the word Gewa to the word Sonam. Sonam actually does translate as merit. And you think of little gold stars that might be, collected. And you collect Sonam. That's a Tibetan idea. Not among the yogis. Among the simple lay practitioners that say a few mantra and a prayer or two every day, and then go about their life of, feeding their children. The yogis rarely use that word to speak of them. They use Gewa, which is a lot more open-ended, offered out, doesn't have the connotations of something you might amass. I've always found it quite funny when I'm doing Kora with, say, a couple of yogis, and there's some householders who are friends also, people who are not really into the Dharma, but they love the Dharma and they do their manis. And they come to temple for holidays. And they always ask me, I always ask all of us, how many circles did you make? How many Kora? Numbers get very important for them to keep track. And they actually compete on how many numbers. Most of the yogis haven't a clue how many numbers because they weren't paying attention to the number they were practicing. So even among Tibetans, we have those who have really chosen to get deep into it, and those who are at a different stage in their life. I knew a woman who, she was always a counter. And then some things happened, and she suddenly became a practitioner, and her whole attitude towards stuff changed. She was in her late 50s and her kids were grown. She had a lot of kids. I think they took most of her attention. And then they were grown and she was free to actually pursue the Dharma. So there's a lot of levels you can approach this on at different times in your life. Sometimes in your life, usually somewhere in your 40s, maybe 50s, are super busy. Your kids are right in the needful. Your career is peaking and your parents are aging. You're busy. Every day, remember refuge and bodhisattva. Don't worry if you're busy and are not able to sit down and do the amount of practice you think you should. There will come other times. And in fact, how many of you are in a busy period in your life? Yeah, it's pretty common. I'm going to teach you a practice that doesn't take time. a Dzogchen practice. It's called Gom. Same root as Gompa. A Gompa is not a monastery. This is a Gompa. A Gompa is a meditation hall. There are meditation halls in monasteries, but there are also where monks live, monastery. But there are also meditation halls not in monasteries. That word causes a certain amount of confusion to Westerners. If you don't have a lot of time to spend in the Gompa, you can do Gom anywhere. In the beginning, you will have to spend some time on the cushion. Give it a couple of weeks. With your channels in alignment and your gaze softened, opened. But once it's easy to shift your attention from point focus to open awareness, you don't need all those little helpful tricks. You can do it while walking. You can even do it while talking. You can do it while driving, but don't practice that until you're really good at it. Same goes for chainsaws. Because one of the oopsies we fall into is a spacedness from it. There is space, the dance of phenomena, also known as Bodhisattva. And we're trying to walk the middle path. And every so often you find yourself leaning into space and you're all spacey. And you sit back up. And then you find yourself leaning into phenomena, and it's also very real and terribly upsetting, because phenomena often is. And you come back. So you're going to be going like this. But that's how you find the midpoint, the middle way. Gom is the middle way. You're not trancing out on a cushion. You're not utterly involved in phenomena by reifying everything around you. You all know the word reifying? I only learned it a couple of years ago, so I'm checking to see if it might be a new one for you. It's okay to Google it while I'm talking. The middle way. You know how when you got little kids, toddlers, and you always know where your toddler is? You've always got one eye or one ear on that toddler because they're trying to kill themselves at that age. They've got no sense. So Tawa. Remember the word Tawa? Sometimes we call it the Dzogchen view, but view implies you're looking out a window. You're in here and you're looking out a window at something, and I don't want that implication. That infinite open awareness as an experience. That infinite open awareness, which is beyond experience, as it is always there. However, your attention is not always focused, unfocused to it. As you begin to frequently return your attention to open relaxedness without attempting to maintain that. Remember, I said yesterday, it's frequency, not duration. Short sessions, but many. As you keep doing that, it will begin to feel as if it were your toddler and you had an eye on it, an ear on it. That's an analogy. Keep one eye on your mind like you do on your toddler. Some of you don't have kids. Can you drive, listen to books on tape, and eat a sandwich while holding a conversation with somebody? Ever done that? Yeah. Making comments on the book to each other. Long drive, eating the potato chips that you got from the gas station. But you've always got an eye on the road. You're doing all these other things, but you're flicking your glance at the road. Your attention is on the road and then it's everywhere else. And it's on the road and it's everywhere else. And it's never not on the road for very long. But you don't stick it on the road and keep it there like a race car driver has to do under those circumstances. Or like you had to do when you first drove that first day. I'll never be able to eat a sandwich while I do this. It needs everything I've got just to keep it on the road. Or my first motorcycle. Oh shit, it's going to fall over. Frequent feeling. Till you practice. So in the same way, you keep an eye on the road. Keep flicking your glance into relaxation. In the beginning, it's going to feel as if you flick from left to right. Just like when you're on the road, you flick your attention onto the road and then your attention onto the sandwich, the friend, the story, the radio song. That's how it feels at first. It's not how it really is. It's how it feels. Second, it feels like this. Put your hand in front of your face. Look at your fingerprints. Look at me through your fingers. Look at your fingerprints. Look at me through your fingers. Look at your fingerprints. Look at me through your fingers. You see that? A shift of depth perception. As if your fingerprints were the phenomena you're dealing with. And the vast open awareness, that open focus, was the distance. This is all analogies, as if I'm describing the process your feelings go through. In the end, no shift. The yoga of dancing stillness is complete. So do not be alarmed that it feels like you're glancing from left to right. Like the way you keep your eye on the road while listening to the radio, talking to your friend, and eating a burger. Because I know you've all done that. Keep glancing. And you want to glance as often as you glance back at the road. That's frequent. Now, the force to do this 24/7. No, you're going to sprain something. So in the beginning, put a half-hour session, a 20-minute session, while you buy groceries, while you walk with the cart through the supermarket. Attention, flick to groceries. Relax eyeballs, flick back to natural mind. Flick to groceries. Choose a grocery, flick to natural mind. Do you see how to do this? Most people need a few weeks. I'm saying most people, not all people. Some people like me needed a few years on the cushion with your channels in alignment and the eye unfocused and nothing in front of you to catch the eyeball, some not too much movement here to catch you, to develop the ability to look there with ease. But here, do it with me right now, without sitting up, just as you are. Just relax your eyeballs, just that one thing. See, Tawa? Take a little longer. Do it slow. Relax yourself into open awareness. See how it's easier when you align your channels? Harder with the grocery cart, but still doable. Probably in the beginning, just that flicking with the grocery cart will be a bit difficult. So instead, as you go about your day, stop in a cafe, sit on a chair, check and see if your mind is still there. If it is, get up and go do the next thing you got to do. There are benches, walls, car seats, chairs all over this world. There's a standing position. It's called the horse stance. Do you know it? If there is no chair, it aligns your channels. This is not Tibetan, this is Chinese, but it does the same thing. Taoist. So my feet are pointed forward and they're directly below my shoulders. My knees are not locked. They're ever so slightly bent, whatever's comfy. My ass is pulled in. This straightens the sway back, the lordosis. My hands are relaxed down like this, a little round, elbows a little out. Neck back. Mouth, as I taught you yesterday. Eyes, as I taught you yesterday. Open your attention. You want to try it standing up? Try the position. It's pretty simple. Trick is you mustn't lock your knees and you want your feet right under your shoulders pointed forward directly. Not too far forward, but just so you don't have that sway back where you're sticking your ass out. Now, there's different ways of doing it, but this way you do your arms fairly down, but elbows out. Stick your elbow. Yeah, there you go. That's a little too far elbow. Relax. Chin back. Eyes straight ahead. Point 2 meters in front of your nose, 2 yards. Relax the point. Let go of the point. Relax your eyeballs. Relax your attention. Let it open naturally. But don't try to stay there. Just check and see if your mind is still there. And then go on about your business. This is the practice for the busy people who did not find a convenient chair. As sometimes one doesn't. Now, I think I saw a question somewhere in the back. Would you come up to the mic? Oh, Jan, I love you. You're a miracle worker.
If I have my hands sort of cupped like that, it starts accumulating energy there.
In the Taoist, that's how it's seen.
Okay.
That you're making a ball.
Isn't that just naturally happens? Is that okay? Or
Yes,
I let-
what you want, the things that you want is your elbows out, but your arms relaxed.
okay.
You want to be able to hold an egg in your armpit. Why you want to be able to do that? They never said in the texts. That's a Tibetan quote. You want to be able to hold an egg in your armpit. So you want your, I guess Tibetans hold eggs in their armpits? Maybe keep it from freezing. But don't try to make a ball of energy or do any of the other Taoist parts of this. Just use the position unless you're doing the Taoist practice, which is not what I'm teaching you. That's used medically. At least my Taoist training is medical and Chinese medicine. Other questions? Yes, please.
So I was finding this morning that when I was trying to do other activities like walking, or I even like tried rollerblading, that when I would try to come back to Tawa, when I was flicking back and forth, it was like I was losing the vibrant quality and anchoring to like a conceptual approximation.
Yes.
So do I just like keep going and it gets more vivid?
No. When
Okay.
that happens, you're not quite ready to do it while rollerblading yet. Because you're not getting it vivid, you're simply turning to your memory of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So back on the cushion or the bench.
Okay.
It's once that gets easy, super easy, where you just do it. And there it is, that fast. Easy to just choose to do it. You don't have to take a breath and settle into it. Then you take it out and
Okay.
wear your helmet.
Yes, always.
Heads are precious. And I love your haircut. I wish I could do that with mine. Nagpas have to have long hair. It's part of the Tibetan thing. If I cut mine short, they'd think I was a nun, and I don't want any mistakes. Anyone else? Because today is the day of questions. Dzogchen is something you do. It's not something you talk about until it does itself.
So this is my first introduction to this actual teaching, but in previous stuff, I have started meditation with some pranayama, and it has really helped me settle in and kind of get to this state.
Mhm.
Would you rather that be put aside and practice, or use it because it's a useful tool?
I can't help you with the pranayama because I'm not trained in the system you're using. However, that deep breath and out through the nose, that was pranayama. If you have a skill at pranayama that helps you settle to this, use it. How many of you are working tantric sadhanas in yoga tantra or above? Okay, so this goes in your tantric sadhana. It's written in your tantric sadhana. After you do the self-initiation, where the 5 Dhyani Buddhas come and bunk you over the head and then they absorb in, and you are the archetype, the deity, and you're holding this and you're doing this, and the lights go in, the lights come out, and whatever your sadhana has occurring. And then when the mantra goes round, or in some sadhana goes round, when you're done, the entire universe is by then absorbed into the archetype and its mandala. I use the word archetype instead of deity because I don't want to confuse it with those thingies that eat people. And some people worship. What's the difference between a god and a demon? Whether or not you like their agenda. So I'm more inclined to go with archetype, energy manifestation, because many people use talk about many, many gods everywhere. You know, you've got Demetra and you've got Diana and you've got Thor and you've got this and you've got that. And I don't want to confuse it with those, many of whom are actually real people for assorted definitions of people. So the archetypes, you are the archetype. And then the mandala absorbs into the archetype. And then the archetype absorbs into the mantra, absorbs into the seed syllable in the middle, and the seed syllable absorbs into itself. The no thing that occurs at that point, that's Tawa. That is when in Tantra you are encouraged to sit in Tawa. Eventually, for as long as it took you to do the sadhana. But you don't force it to be that long. You sit in Tawa at the end of your sadhana for as long as it's easy and a little bit more. You let it stretch. And that's where Tantra and Dzogchen combine each other and synergize. So for those of you who love your Tantra and who are working with a Yidam, that's where you put this in that. And you're going to find at the end of a sadhana, that shift of attention is much easier. Just as after doing salung, pranayama, it's easier. At the end of Vajrasattva, which is even done in Kriya, that occurs. You know, you're a clear crystal vase, yeah, that no thing. Rest there. It's easier at that point than while pushing a shopping cart in the grocery store. That's hard. That's an advanced practice. But some of you, before I see you again, will be ready to do that. And some of you will give it a try now and find that it's not working because what you're getting is the idea of open awareness rather than the freshness, the rawness of open awareness as it actually is, freshly seen, fresh in each moment. And if you find that's happening, you step back a little bit today. There are some days that happens to me. We all get bad days. Red-eye flight. Had supper at the 7-Eleven. Donuts and hot dogs. Yada, yada, yada. No, this is a point where I'm going to use either a sadhana or a method, and I'm not going to try it with a shopping cart. Because you have to accept yourself in your practice where you are today with utter self-honesty and not try to fake it to yourself. So if it's a day when you don't even like Dharma, someone talked to me about that yesterday, I guess you need to go to the beach or the pub, or watch a movie. Self-honesty is really important in the Dzogchen levels and the higher tantric levels. Don't fake it to yourself. Don't pretend. Conversely, visualization is a pretend. It's a dreamscape. It's like a drum journey. Anybody here ever do a drum journey, Native American? No? Oh, you guys are missing something. They're really great. It's a drum journey is a fantasy that people do together to the sound of a drum with their eyes closed, usually lying down flat. And it's part of a ceremonial practice, and the fantasy is somewhat guided by the facilitator. And it's it would be the equivalent in at least Lakota, where I learned those, of a tantric sadhana. Use the tantric sadhana instead. I know better how to help you with those. I don't consider myself a teacher of the Lakota lineage. I just found it interesting. More questions?
So I was doing the looking for my mind with my mind, and I guess I keep getting distracted by my sense organs, especially my eyes and ears being located right here. But I feel like that's where my mind is. And
Because that's the sense organs.
I'm able to move the thoughts or images to a different place, but I kind of feel like I'm projecting from somewhere in here.
I got a practice for you that will pop that open. It's tantric. As in, you do the practice. Are you willing?
Yes.
Okay, this practice is done while taking a walk. You go for a walk. Usually good times are towards evening and early morning, when the birds and the animals are active. And you go about until you find an animal in distress. A bug caught in a spider web struggling. A spider in the morning whose web remains empty, hungry. Two birds competing and fighting over a particular territory. Two hummingbirds in the same garden do that all the time. If you have a hummingbird feeder, you can watch that. The stress of their fighting to maintain their territory. But you just find something. So let's say it's a bug in a spider web struggling. For example, you'll find what you find. A worm that can't get off the sidewalk to get back into its hole. It came out when it rained. There's so many things. I want you to stand there, horse stance that I taught you, that standing meditation thing, channels aligned, and look at the bug as it struggles. And I want you to practice making a shift to be in the bug looking at you while you're in you looking at the bug. Don't fall down. When you first do this, people sometimes fall, so please don't do it on the stairs. Do it, over grass or something. It does sometimes make you dizzy because you see double, and bugs have really different ways of seeing. So you shift yourself into being in both places at once. You imagine that. If you don't actually feel the shift, you just imagine it. The shift will actually come and you'll feel dizzy for a moment. But until then, pretend to yourself and know you're pretending. I'm imagining it. I'm visualizing it. Then you in the human body imagine that the suffering, the terror of this bug that can't get out of the web, struggling, which you are also feeling, is a black smoke like a bus fart. You know what bus farts are? Inhale it. Take it on. As that black smoke comes into you, around you, for you around your head maybe, for others of us it's around our bodies, there is a membrane of self-holding, self-focusedness. Looks a little like a soap bubble, but it's really tough. You can kick it a lot, it won't let go. Or maybe it looks to you like the inside membrane of an eggshell. So this black smoke comes in as you inhale, and it strikes that bubble. Like matter and antimatter coming together, both are destroyed. There is no longer a self-focused selfness. There is no longer the bug suffering. It's all vast, open, clear, transparent light without phenomena, and it shines forth and fills the universe with comfort. Doesn't shine out of you, it just shines because you're not you yet. You've popped that. And then, of course, you return to you become yourself again. That's going to happen. You don't have to make that happen. That's no pretend. You're just going to experience that. Do you understand this practice?
Yes, I think I do.
This is called Tonglen. Exchanging yourself with others. So the first component is the shift into double. It's actually very important. It's also one of the teachings in dream yoga, if you ever get into that practice. That's taught Bon and Nyingma, as well as in a wide variety of other lineages. It's a common shamanistic practice all through everywhere. You try that for a while as an auxiliary practice to trying to do this. And it's going to get a lot easier. You're just stuck in the bubble.
Yeah, thank you.
Tibetans have many practices for many different purposes. You will never be able to do them all. It's good to have a teacher who can recommend this practice or that practice when you come to them and say, I'm stuck here. What will get my shorts off the nail in the fence I'm trying to climb over? Remember from you're a little kid, you're climbing over a fence and all of a sudden your pants are not coming with you? What'll get it loose? So Tonglen is a good one when you're stuck in a bubble. Other questions? Oh, come on. I didn't bring any ready-made lecture to you. I have to do that for tomorrow. I didn't do that today. You'll come up anyway. You're going to be next.
In the past, I've been taught about inverting my awareness. I always have trouble with that. And is that?
Wait a minute. Say that again, because some of the words were blurred. You can stand up comfortably if you like. You don't have to crouch at me. Just talk. We're
Okay.
ordinary.
In
This lama's ordinary. Not all lamas are like that.
Thank you. I've been taught to invert my awareness, and I could never really
To what?
invert my awareness. And I think what you just described kind of helps.
Might be it.
You might be.
I don't know, because I don't
don't
know
know.
the phrase of the context in which you were taught that. Which teaching is that part of? And if I can think of how it's said in Tibetan, I'll know what you're talking about.
I think it's more, well, it's in Dzogchen, but I can't speak more intelligently about that, and that's embarrassing.
Oh,
But
don't worry. I'm just not sure what what translated as
Yeah.
invert your.
I'll try to bring that information tomorrow, because I can't really.
I can't remember where it came from.
No, but I always struggle because I felt like I needed to do some kind of mental somersault, and that was not good. I knew that was wrong. Anyway, so I'll come back with that, but I do have one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
So yesterday when Jan gave the pith instructions for observing sound, every time I was observing the sound and then I tried to like locate it, it disappeared. And so I would bring it into awareness and envision it. It was like wherever I turned my focus, it totally disappeared.
Good. Look where it went.
That part I couldn't get to.
Well, try it. When it disappears, where'd it go? You're actually doing very well. You'd be surprised. This is a very traditional question at this point. And you're trying to see where it is and it vanishes. Try to see if you can quickly spot where it went.
Lama. So I find that I have a fairly easy time maintaining and finding open awareness when waking. And I've been doing a inner body Rushan practice to try to clear out some of my channel blockages. But I find when I sleep, and especially in the early, like kind of pre-waking period, that my channel pattern gets very sort of avoidant constrictive.
Gets constrictive?
Kind of like there's an avoidant feeling. There's a wanting to kind of turtle and pull into myself that I like. Sometimes when I have some lucidity, I'll try to just relax and like give towards that feeling.
What are you maintaining? You said you're finding it rather easy to maintain it while you're awake. I want to know exactly what it is you are maintaining and how.
Maybe not necessarily the most accurate way to describe, just that when I'm awake, being able to relax into openness is something that I find a relative ease in doing and don't have a whole lot of difficulty recognizing that I've lost it and getting it again.
I think that you are not, I think this is not SOPA. Because SOPA does you don't do it. And if there is a sensation of maintaining something, what you are maintaining is something moving. I got a homework for you to get past this. This is called Rushen. You need one of the Rushens.
I'm doing the inner body Rushen currently.
Which one are you doing?
Inner body.
Yeah, that's not the one you need. You need the one direct where you separate samsara from nirvana. You're not doing the outer body, you're doing the inner body.
Yes.
You can't do the outer body in Kansas City. You could get through this by doing the outer body, but you don't have the karma at this moment to complete that. So there's another way of doing it. While on the cushion, I want you to notice until you are absolutely sure what moves and what does not. Because you have partially stabilized something that moves. It's still a come and go. And you are attempting to stabilize something that moves, and that will never work and lead to SOPA. Because the moving moves, but you need to become experientially clear. What is moving and what is stillness? Not what is, but what moves. Your thoughts move, obviously. Your feelings move. You feel different ways at different times. Your perceptions and your sensations of your sense organs move. What doesn't move? This is not something you have to answer me now, but something you have to actually drive yourself crazy with, like it's a koan. After you have become experientially clear what moves and what does not by looking while glancing at Tawa. The glancer moves. It glances at, it glances away. Does Tawa move? Is it always there? You find out. Then come back to me. We'll find each other somewhere. You can join one of my online groups, talk to me.
I'm in your Tantra group. So I'm in your Tantra group. So.
Okay. So then when you are sure of that, I teach you the next piece. If I teach you the next piece now, it'll mess up the first piece. because you'll know the answer. Therefore, you won't push your experiential self to find the answer because you already know the answer. And you won't get the experience, just the knowing, which are not the same thing.
Thank you, Lama.
So switch Rushens. Inner body Rushen is good, but it's not the one you need for this hump. This is what I do in those monthly groups all the time. Write prescriptions.
Can you do what you just had him do with silence? That's what I've been using to originally to just sort of find it. The silence within sound. It's always there. It's easy to find.
That's a different Rushen. It's not quite the same Rushen.
Okay.
Between stillness and moving, there is another Rushen where you go to a concert or play your music system, or where there's live music works better on this somehow. You know, a pub that's got a musician, or go find a busker. I'm living in New Orleans, that's easy. But in music, while listening to music, find the silence in the sound. And then you go and you look at things like trees, bushes, buildings. You find the emptiness in the form. Sometimes people who are artistically inclined try to draw the sky. You don't draw the bush, you draw the sky. Can you imagine how that would be?
Sure, yeah.
Try that, even if you're not an artist.
Okay.
It'll help you focus. And then there's another one, that's visual sound. There's also tactile. Go dancing. Find the stillness in the dance. But that's a different Rushen, not the one I just taught him, and it serves a different purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
Who else?
Can I ask you a question about working with emotions?
Yes.
Okay. I've come to be calmer with my own pain. But when I encounter the pain of smaller beings, I'm devastated.
Hold the microphone.
I'm devastated for days.
That's an emotion.
Yes.
Devastated.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Have you had working with emotions class?
Mhm.
So go ahead and be devastated.
Mhm.
Accept that feeling. Don't fight it. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to make it go away. And don't try to become calmer. Emotions are the Dhyani Buddhas, the initiatory deities in Tantra, the guys with the vase that bunk you in the sadhana, the 5 of them. They are your emotions released from the girdle, corset, spanx of you're either trying to justify them or act out of them so that they'll finish and go away, or suppress them and pretend they're not there. That squinches them, and it is the squeak. Where is... Yeah, I put it in here. I know I did. I know I did. Okay, that's a mess. Jan. Jan. Great. Excuse me, surface area. There it is. I was going to ask her, but no, it was in there. I'm just being a klutz. When energy flows through a small orifice, it's constrained. It squeaks. The poisons, the 5 poisons are the squeak. Like nails on a blackboard, you don't like it. You have to actually let it take its own shape, which is the 5 wisdoms. Mirror-like wisdom of equanimity, the wish-fulfilling jewel, opame incomparable light, Amogosiddhi, the dance of the flow, all accomplishing wisdom, and the infinite open spaciousness of the center. It can't become those while you're trying to do something to it. That's its natural state, but get that girdle off it. Don't try to be calmer. You're squishing it. Don't try to justify that emotion. You're squishing it. Don't entertain it, don't justify it, and certainly don't suppress it. That also squishes it. You have to be able to see the nature of your thoughts while thinking them to be able to do this. So you are thinking about, hearing about the suffering somewhere. I think Sudan is currently the one with the worst. So you're listening about the great famine in Sudan and the fighting and how everybody's killing each other. And you're thinking about the horror for the children, having their arms cut off, everybody with machetes, the armies with the machetes. Yeah, that's going on. So you're thinking about that. Those are thoughts. Look right through them. You know how to do that. See, Tawa, nature of mind while thinking. Yeah, that frees and unravels the thoughts, leaving that feeling of pain. Let it be what it is. Don't fight it. Don't shove it away. Don't reject it. Relax and accept that sensation in your body, in your mind. And it arises as pure energy. Keep practicing. Keep working with thoughts, because that's the key to that. This that I've been teaching you, follow your thoughts home. Where is the thinker of thoughts? This is the beginning of working with thoughts. We got a student-led group practice group going on, working with thoughts. I think Jan runs it. Working with thoughts, working with feelings, working with perceptions. That's all part of this. But the beginning, the first skill that you have to bring to these things is being able to see through your thoughts. Remember that transparent crystal yesterday? Your thoughts are transparent. You can see right through them. You can see Tawa through your thoughts. Tawa is there while you think, not instead of thought. And when you see Tawa through the thoughts unravel themselves and they lose their power over you. That's the whole purpose of this. And once thoughts have no power over you, you are able to free your emotions without hope of getting rid of them or fear of what they might do if you let them go. So without needing to act on them or suppress them, you free them into the natural state of the five wisdoms. We're doing working with perceptions up in Canada again, if you want to come. It's overnight, takes a while. You got to be able to work with thoughts and feelings first. Take it in order. There's reasons for the order. Tibetans are always into starting at the easy end. They don't tell you how fast to go, but start with the easy bit. When you become good at GOM, GOM is seeing Tawa, nature of mind, open awareness, being in open awareness, you as open awareness, while thinking without separating the two. Then Sopa will occur. There is no way that you can make it occur. There is no way that you can do Sopa. Sometimes that word is translated as action, sometimes as conduct, but those are both crappy translations. The spontaneous action of non-action. Recognizing every thought that arises in its arising, seeing its nature and being able to think perfectly well nonetheless, not spacey. Sopa. It will do you. You don't do it. Sopa is the stabilization of your Dzogchen, of your Trekcha. It will do you. You don't do it. Otherwise, you will have the great pleasure of spending years trying to stabilize an aspect of the moving. Oops. Even if you hold it still for 1,000 years, when you let go, it moves. Like Shine. Eventually, you got to get up and pee. I don't care how good your Shine is. Bladder wins in the end. So don't attempt Sopa. Permit Sopa. How? GOM. Again and again, at all times, in all circumstances, recognize the already noticed Dharmakaya nature of mind. Quote from Garab Dorji, or Norbu Rinpoche's teacher, Jangchuk Dorji, said to my teacher, Wangdo Rinpoche, while walking and talking, while getting up and sitting down, whatever you are doing right while you do it, notice nature of mind. And my teacher added in, without grabbing at it, when he was talking to me about it, without trying to keep it, trying to stabilize it, trying to make it stay there, trying to do anything whatsoever to it. You have to understand, enlightenment is your own true nature. It is the completely natural state. All you have to do is stop resisting. And in the end, in the fourth time, resistance is futile. So don't worry about how fast you're going at letting go of your resistance. Questions? You all know how to do whichever part of this practice is the one you're doing? If you choose to do any of it? Then I guess, oh, here we go.
So, the way that we've been working with Tawa is a little bit like going out to find it or looking for it.
That's the first step.
Right. I've worked with another nature of mind practice instruction. It's like, you don't go looking, it comes to you.
That's the third step.
Okay.
Nature of mind neither comes nor goes. However, your attention moves around all over the place and is new for most people and must be begun on purpose. However, stabilizing that, I'm putting that in quotes, cannot be done on purpose because you cannot stabilize attention. It moves. So you have to let mother and child luminosity unite, is the poetic phrase for it. Child luminosity is Tawa as pointed out by your teacher.
Mhm.
The Tawa that you find and look at. Mother luminosity of ground is that innate and completely natural Tawa, which has always been there and always will. Doesn't move, doesn't come and go beyond time and space. After some time, the found Tawa, and they always was and will be Tawa, are recognized as one and the same, but that you can't do on purpose. So I think we're talking about the same thing, but different aspects of it.
Okay.
And I think different teachers may at different times emphasize different aspects with different people.
Thank you.
So I experienced entering into this natural state. It's almost like I experience a movement, a wave of movement, and in my physical body. And I'm wondering if I'm relying on a crutch, or if that's just maybe how I've taught myself to do it. And I don't know if I'm doing something strange energetically, or I end up with pressure here in a way.
Then you are doing something strange energetically.
Okay.
So more of a it's a nyam meditative experience. If it is causing energy in the chakra form to feel stuck, try a different way, because that side effect is not pointing in quite the right direction. Now, some nyams that you get, spacey, the spacey case thing, that's also a nyam. Nyams are called come and goes in Japanese, in Zen, because they come and they go. But sometimes you get stuck in one. In Dzogchen, when we are stuck in a meditative experience, like being spacey you find when you want to drive, there's a magic word to knock you out of it. This is called a seed syllable, and it's the seed syllable.
That is very helpful too.
P-A-T-T.
I use that.
So use that. Don't use it in group practice.
Right.
You end up sounding like a bag of microwave popcorn and it's pointless. But when you're alone. Now, if you find you get stuck in a nyam when you're out walking and doing gom, rather than do an usual pet, grab your hanky. Because you don't want to alarm people, it's a secret practice. So just grab your hanky, they'll think you got a weird sneeze. but it won't be sharing a secret practice.
I see.
So if you're stuck in spacey sometime and you realize and you got to drive because you got to be to the next thing because you got stuff to do, hit it with pet. This word has to have 3 characteristics. Sudden. So don't be thinking about it for a while first. When you realize you're stuck, just hit it right away before you can get all mental about it. Sharp. Fierce. Doesn't have to be loud. It does have to be sudden, sharp, and fierce. Pet. Pet. That was a soft one without the microphone. Pet. Pet. It comes from here. Down in below the heart chakra, solar plexus, comes up and out. If you throw it like lightning, you throw it like lightning. The traditional and most common things to get caught in are spaciness, bliss, and wisdom. Clarity, wisdom. Don't grab. Can I see up here the people from out of town? Would you come up? Out of towners only. People who are not local. So the secret of the universe, the secret of Dzogchen. This is a mnemonic. It says in both Tibetan and in English, relax, let go, leave be. This is the key to enlightenment. To remind yourself. I don't have enough for everyone. So I will be posting them as soon as I get home, which is like Sunday night, Monday, to the center here, to Matt, where the rest of you who are local folks can pick them up. But for those who who come from out of town and don't get here, what am I stuck on? I wanted to give out the few I had. There's more of you than I expected. Okay, next question. Is there anyone who has a hardship getting to the center on Sundays to pick up one of these from Matt? Because I do have a few more. Well, come up. Come here. I'll give you one now. I want to hand them to the people who might find it difficult to get it from Matt in a week or two, depending on what the postage takes. So I still have a few left if somebody needs it for that reason. Out of towners, do you need one to bring home to anyone in particular? If so, come here and I will give you one. They're for practitioners. They really don't mean much to non-practitioners. It's just a nice little bracelet, you know, oh, trendy. Relax. Into Tawa. As Tawa. When experiences of bliss or clarity or wisdom arise as a result of this, let go. Do not grab it. Leave it be as it is. Let it come and go. It's moving. You can't keep it forever anyway. It's a distraction. It's not the real wisdom. It's the pretend wisdom. It's like you get a hobby horse, one of the ones on a stick. And if you would just wait and not grab that and ride away on it, there's a real horse coming. Make sense? Okay, and I have like 4 or 5 left. So if somebody finds a need here, and Matt, next week I will get that into the post. I know exactly where they are. And I'd say we've got about 50 people here. So I'll send you a little bit more than that. They're for people who wish to recognize their natural innate enlightenment. The key is no grabby, relax. If you find you have grabbed onto something, let go. Leave it be. As Saraha said, even the beautiful jewel ornament of the Dharma is no more real than any of these. Dharma is a method. When you use the screwdriver to get the back off the radio, and I'm thinking old tube sets now, you put it down and you pick up the soldering iron to fix the connection that came loose. Because you already undid the screw, so you can put down the screwdriver. Method. The union of method and wisdom, the union of path and fruition is the key. That's what I'm trying to show you. Any last questions?
I was wondering on the lesson you gave about, I can't remember the name, where you go out and rescue.
Where you go out and find animals who are suffering, but you don't rescue, or you can if you want.
Okay, that was my question.
Wait until after you've done the complete practice, then go ahead and rescue if they are rescuable, unless their problem is time sensitive. If the bug is drowning in the puddle and it's going to drown before you can complete the practice, yeah, fish it out. Common sense. But, you know, generally when a bug is in a spider web, you're going to starve the spider. And also it's really hard to get all that web off the bug without actually damaging it. Been there, tried that.
Spider in my bathtub, I should take it out and then do the practice, take it out and take it outside and get it out of there?
Well, is your bathtub full of water or is it just a spider in your bathtub?
Just a spider in the bathtub.
Yeah, do the practice first. The poor thing's trapped. And it would love to get out, but it's not going to die in a moment while you do the practice or even be seriously harmed. And with the light all around, it's going to be a little calmer to catch and take out with the, you know, glass and piece of paper or whatever you're using.
Thank you.
I used to have a spider that lived in my shower. It was the size of a dinner plate. It was so big, it used to clatter when it walked. If I had meat, I'd bring it pieces. We have one more question coming.
I think there's something about these questions of, you know, where am I hearing it? Where am I saying it? That's making me slip into a dream state really easy. I find it really difficult to not keep finding myself in a dream with.
Oh, that has to do with the heat in the room and the fact that this is after lunch. One does. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I suggest you have a cup of tea and then try practicing. or coffee as you prefer. You all know how? At least give me some head bobbles one way or the other. So then it's up to you to choose whether or not to practice this. If you need support, I meet with beginning Trekcha online in a couple of weeks. You can join. Sign up on the website. If you feel comfortable that you don't need more support than you have here, then come here for support. Matt knows this stuff. It's entirely up to you, including deciding that this is not the practice you want to do. I just had to rest the ear. Gewandi Nyurduda Chi Sala Gopashu. May all beings recognize what they really are and stop resisting.
Thank you, Lama Lena. We will do our dedication of merit, and then I would like to have us do the long life prayer for Lama Lena. So hopefully everybody has that copy as well. Dedication of merit. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. By this merit, may all obtain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. And then long life prayer for Yeshe Keto Rinpoche. Of the trillions of knowledge holders, the chief is the supreme Ekajachi, whose sunshine-like activity you pervade in everyone. Yes, into the pure wisdom magic of your heart. Emoho, glorious teacher, Yeshe Keto, may you live long. Dzogchen is the Daikini's twilight speech. Being firm and everlasting, you are the Daikini's primordial sound, gathering the liveliness of space and light. Yeshe Ketup, may sublime ones and all those with the eye opened at the end of space watch over you, watch within you, watch as you, watch through you. I pray with the only prayer I know. Splendorous protectress of secret mantra, inexhaustibly protecting all in the blazing expanse of luminosity, ripe with the splendid fruit of benefit to all. May you fortunate disciples shine forth abundantly, subsuming all worlds, singing songs of glittering auspiciousness. Your flavorful essence of unmistaken wisdom is marvelous nectar, directly quenching all thirst right here, being the great comfort of living what you teach. And again, thank you everybody who joined us in the streaming as well. And so we're gonna end our streaming now.
I have one thing to say.
Yep.
So those of you out there, do remember to thank your translators. And if you are interested in merging your practice with one of the yogis and yoginis out in Solpema, write me an email to that effect, and I'll tell you more about how sponsorship works. Milarepa said, The yogi on the mountain and the farmer who grows his food and brings it up to him, they get the realizations together because they did the practice together. So this is for those of you who are at that time of life where you have more money than time, where you pay somebody to mow the lawn rather than do it yourself. I'm not saying pay them to practice for you rather than do it yourself, but synergize. Anyway, it's an opportunity. Drop me an email. My email's on the website, easy to contact.